I hear that question two ways when you ask me. One is, it sounds like you're asking, how did you capture their results? How did you make sure they were having transformation? And the other thing that I hear is, did you stake your worthiness as a coach on them having transformation? And the answer is I did both very ineffectively. No, the one I actually didn't do as ineffectively. I had a very, very simple thing when I started off, is I would have like a pre-call sheet and a post-call sheet. So for every call that we had, they would fill out something and send it to me 24 hours before with what they wanted to work on, and another sheet they'd send to me within 24 hours after with their biggest takeaways, their biggest ahas, their biggest insights, and any homework that we had talked about, any challenges that they were going to work on, until our next session. And that's great. And I'll also say that as the people that I started to coach changed and where they came from, and they were committing themselves at a higher level, I didn't need to do those sheets anymore, right? Because they didn't need to be reminded, they didn't need accountability. They really showed up for themselves, right? They were so excited to do this that I didn't need to do that. I would sometimes take my own notes so I would remember, so I could celebrate them, but I didn't force them to capture it. The other side of this is actually the thing that I think is more important for coaches to recognize, and it's us taking responsibility for what happens with our clients. And this was probably the number one biggest challenge for me, and for, again, almost every new coach I talk to, but such a huge challenge for me. At the end of a coaching conversation, let's even say with a paid client, whether it was a prospect or a paid client, my entire energy level would be staked on how much fireworks there were in that session. If there were no fireworks, I suck. If there were tons of fireworks, I'm the greatest. And that's a really crappy way to live, to have all of your worth be staked on what happens in a single conversation. So taking responsibility for clients' results is something that I would strongly invite people to try to let go of, because it doesn't serve you and it doesn't serve the client. One of the ways that I was able to do that was to recognize that I have no clue when their breakthroughs are going to happen. How arrogant of me to think that they are going to have a transformation inside the 30-minute, hour, 90-minute, 2-hour call. Like, how arrogant of me to think that I know what's best, and that if you didn't have some major breakthrough in this call, then you're never going to have it. And I screwed up, or you screwed up. It was typically that I say I screwed up, but like that means it's not going to happen. And then I had this one call one time with this guy where it literally felt like the worst coaching call I had ever had since the service palooza those first 9 days. But once I got past that, like when I was actually coaching and I had been in it for like a year or so, worst coaching call ever. I felt like no matter what questions I asked, he was like, nope, I don't, that doesn't resonate with me. Can you rephrase the question? I'm like, oh God, why am I making things so complex? I suck, this is the worst. He's not getting anything out of this. He's gonna want his money back. We scheduled our next call, we get off the phone, and he emails me like 24 hours later and says, man, I can't even tell you what shifted for me from that call. Like, I had such a big insight the next morning when I woke up that I see things so much more clearly now than I did before our call. And that was a time when I realized, like, dude, stop it. You have no idea what's right for people. You have no idea when their breakthroughs are supposed to happen, what those breakthroughs are going to look like. You have no idea, and it's not your responsibility. So the distinction that I play with a lot now to remind myself of this is responsible for versus contribute to, right? I am not responsible for your transformation, but I am here to contribute to your transformation. I'm not responsible for you having a huge breakthrough during the hour that we talk, but I will do whatever I can to contribute to you having that breakthrough. And so now it allows me to be of service without tying my self-worth to them having some big breakthrough. That's me shifting from ego back into service.